We are so pleased to introduce Flying Changes magazine as a sponsor of this episode. Flying Changes is a print and digital magazine that services sport horse enthusiasts in the Pacific Northwest.
With a nice balance of community news, events, training, and competition articles, and local and professional photography, the magazine is not only a premier publication, but a direct line to the horse-loving community members in the Pacific Northwest.
It's a bit of everything with something for everyone. Visit them at www.flyingchanges.com.
And look for them on Facebook and Instagram at Flying Changes Mag.
Hello, my name is Stephen Pelzer, and you're tuned in to another episode of Young Black Equestrians.
I am a young
black equestrian.
Equestrian.
Black equestrian.
I'm a young black equestrian.
I am a young black equestrian.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Young Black Equestrians with your hosts, Abriana Johnson
and Caitlin Gooch.
Today we have Stephen Pelzer on the line with us, and we are so excited to get to know him. Welcome to the show.
Hello there, glad to be here.
All right, so every episode we like to start off sharing something that we are thankful for. So if you want to go first, Stephen, what is something that you're thankful for today?
I am thankful that I was able to see another birthday, and I did not have any riding incidents from my lesson on my birthday. So very happy about that. Because you never know with horses.
No, you never know. You be out there trying to celebrate, and they were like, nah. Well, congratulations. Happy belated birthday. And we hope you have a prosperous year with minimal horse-related.
Yes.
Caitlin, what is something you're thankful for?
I'm thankful for naps. Gosh, that nap I took today was amazing. And I think everybody napping all at the same time. Woo, I slept for 3 hours.
That's a good one.
Yes.
I think there was I came across an article, and it was saying that we as humans are supposed to sleep when we need to, not necessarily 8 hours every night, just sleep and work in increments and stuff like that. And I feel that in here.
I do too. I can do that.
Because I can be up, if I go to sleep at 6, I can get up and I can be doing work at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm good.
Mm-hmm. And then take another nap.
And then take another nap. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I just want to live my life. Anyway.
What are you thankful for?
What am I thankful for? I am thankful for the ability to work from home, because the job that I just left was 30 miles away, and I drive a Tahoe. And today was the first time I filled the tank up, and I couldn't actually remember the last time I filled the tank up. And I was like, this is awesome. I saved so much money, because I was getting gas every 3 days. Traveling 60 miles a day in a Tahoe.
Gosh.
I was putting gas in the tank every 3 to 4 days. And I don't even remember the last time I put gas in the tank. So doing it this morning, I was just thinking this is great. I'm saving so much money by switching to work from home.
I work from home myself, so I understand that.
Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and hop into our episode. Briefly tell us, where you're from, what you do, who you ride, all those things.
All right. So from the beginning, I guess you can say I started out with just therapeutic riding and helping volunteer at a horse barn. And it kind of just snowballed because I started meeting different people because I was like very social. And it started happening that a lady had me start helping out her barn that she does reining. So I started with like riding a few reining horses, and she had one horse that was kind of hot, so she didn't want it to do the reining. So she's like, well, you can show the American quarter horse stuff and do all around stuff. And I was like, well, okay, I'll see what I can do. And I YouTubed it, and because her and I, we didn't have any trainer at the time, so I YouTubed it, and then I was like, okay, I'll show her in halter. That seems easy, I'll just do that, just stay in there, But it worked out, and like she ended up being pretty good. We got like top 5 in the nation, like for the year, and it was like that was a big deal for me. So then I wanted to kind of get better at riding. So I started really working on that, and I started riding at a few different like hunter jumper barns, and people were giving me lessons, and it ended up being where I would do good, start getting good, and then something happened, I fall off. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to jump anymore. I just don't want to do that. So then I started switching back over to all around quarter horse shows. And then I kind of got into reining for a little bit. But now I am mainly just only doing hunter jumpers. And my next show is going to be at Tryon International Equestrian Center in October. So that's the goal, to compete, because I like to show in, I like doing equitation because it's harder and you don't see really a lot of men, especially Black men in general, showing in that. So I figured if I work hard on my posture and all that, then it's a goal. So, even if I can, not to win it, but just to say if I just ribbon, I would be happy with it.
Yeah, that is fun.
Awesome.
So
yeah,
you're here in North Carolina with us, which is like a rarity because we hardly even.
Yes, I forgot to say that. I'm sorry.
I just want people to know, like, we
That's
are
right.
talking about someone else in North Carolina, because a lot of people, they just don't. I didn't realize how like country people thought we were. We started talking to other people, and they're like, "Y'all do that?
Right.
What you mean?"
Right.
So where are you located in NC?
So I am in a tiny little town called Sophia. It's right outside of Asheboro, North Carolina, and it's also kind of near High Point. So it's like we're right in the middle. Mm-hmm. And so I'm right over this way. And the hunter jumper barn that I ride at is called Irish Oaks, and it's in Louisville, North Carolina. And Cassidy Holder is the trainer there, so she's been the one giving me lessons there.
Oh,
I love how at NC we have to say what it's next to so people can get an idea.
Right.
Yes, because it's such
cities. Like we're by the one that you know about.
Yeah.
Because I say Sophia, and people just look at me like, "Where is that?" It's like, "Is that Raleigh?" No, it's not near Raleigh. It's near Charlotte. No, it's not near Charlotte.
Yeah.
Then is it North Carolina?
Right.
Like that.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. That is super cool. How far is Tryon from you?
It's about, from my apartment, it's about 3 hours.
Okay.
And so it's not too bad. I would rather drive there than to go to Ocala when they're going to build that place, like this whole big new facility. I was like, I'd rather do that because I'm going to fly down there. So luckily North Carolina has like enough shows to keep me home, like, to do whatever discipline I'm doing, it's enough big shows or small shows for you to get your feet wet, and you can just compete at all type of levels, no matter what discipline you do. You can just do it here, from eventing to dressage. They have big stuff here and local stuff. So that's what I do like about this state. They do have a variety of things to do horse-wise.
Yeah. It's about the same distance for us. I went over that way for a bachelorette party, and we went to some kind of thing there, some event they were having. So that was my first time ever going, and I was like, holy crap, we got something nice here.
That's right, something nice. And it's just getting better too as the time goes on. I mean, but they got a little salty, so that's why they built what they built in Ocala now. Because we were like kind of the premier place for a while, and then they did that. They're just like, well, we can't let North Carolina have everything. So
right. So you've gone through all of these disciplines and kind of settled on hunter jumper. Do you see people that look like us?
No, not really, except for well, it's two of my friends. One does live in North Carolina. He was on here, I think, Rob Jacobs. And this other guy, his name is Jay Moore. He lives in Alabama, but he is pretty big into doing he judges some. He's about the same age as I am, I think, or maybe like a few years younger. He's just always just so busy he branched out and became a trainer, so he's just been really busy doing things like that. So that's about it. And as far as showing wise, there's zero. It's just absolutely zero. So that's why I use it to my advantage, because I'm going to stick out regardless. Might as well be a good rider, you know, give them something to look at, you know, say, see, you know, we can ride, you know, we can do this perform at this level. Because the only really African-American that's really out, like at that high level, that's kind of out in the spotlight, I believe is Jordan Allen. I believe she's about the only one that I know of who can show it like top hunters and going to, you know, Wellington and doing well like that.
Right. But you also do photography for shows, right?
Oh yeah, I like to do that. I went to school for about while I was in high school, I took 2 years of photography, and so I'm lazy. Sometimes I'll do it just so I can do it, and because we all know show pictures can be highly expensive. And so I figured I learned a little bit more just to adapt to more of the show stuff and what it is that people like. So I started taking pictures. So for people who couldn't afford it, they can see it on Facebook, you know. And out of respect to the other photographers, I would kind of just stick to just like warm-up pins and stuff like that. So they can still get their money for the actual show pictures, but other people who couldn't afford it, they still get a nice picture and they can make a new profile picture on Facebook. And every now and then I might like do a few photo shoots for some people. So I don't charge much because it's not really, I've never really been into doing it like solely for a living. Because it can get, people have different, let's put it this way, people have different tastes in what they think they want it to look like. And then you like what, you know, and I like what I like. So it's like, well, I think you look good this way. Well, I don't want to look like this. And I'm like, okay, this is why I don't do this for a living. Like sometimes it's creative differences is about the best way I can put it. So, but I try to do it to always keep positive because, like, you know, people can see, like, if a show if it's a small local show, that's free publicity for them, you know, and they get noticed and people are like, well, wow, okay, I want to be going on that one because I've done that for some quarter horse shows here in North Carolina. Now, I'm not gonna say maybe it boosted it, but it definitely got noticed, you know, because there's the Equine Chronicle who does like a lot of quarter horse shows and stuff like that. They normally borrow some of my pictures to put like on their blogs and things like that. So I love doing photography, but I also like being in control to say like when I feel like doing it. It's kind of like that, but I do enjoy it though. It's very fun.
Yeah. That's just one of those hobbies. A lot of people say, like, not every hobby has to be your bread and butter. Like, it doesn't have to make you, like, just some hobbies are perfectly good at just being hobbies.
Yes, and that's basically it. It's just a fun hobby. And then I do feel good when people they get to keep that memory, you know, and they, you know, like if it's a kid walking around, well, say it was like this one girl, I took pictures of her and her horse. Well, you know, tragically her horse passed away like right after that show. So that was like the last time that horse showed, I feel like, you know, so she got those pictures for free, you know, so, you know, they might not have been like the best ones, but they were good enough and she loved them. So that made me feel like, you know, well, at least I helped, you know. So it's just kind of, you know, it's just like a fun hobby to do and, you know, help keep people happy. That's what I like to do.
I love that. Spread love.
Yes. It's not enough of it out here. We need to keep spreading it, you know?
Yeah. What do you do? What's your day job?
So I work for Adapt Health, and it's basically medical, like supplies, and I work in our CPAP department, and I work like in the back office, which is I deal with like the documentation of making sure that we have prescriptions and patients have gone to doctor's appointments so we can give them their supplies and we can bill their insurance. If we can't do that, then I got to figure out, okay, what are we missing here? You know, and it's kind of like a treasure hunt a little bit. Every now and then I have to call a patient or a doctor's office and say, hey, did you get this form? Did you go to your appointment? You know, if you didn't go, they're not going to sign. You can't get your stuff, you know. So it's kind of like, or like if they've already gone, the doctor don't sign, then we're like, can you talk to your doctor for you so we can get you your stuff? So, yeah, at first it was Advanced Home Care, and then we got bought by Adapt. And so it kind of all worked out for the best, because once we got bought by Adapt Health, COVID happened, and then I've been home since March, and I think they said I'm home for good now. So I'm kind of happy with it. I mean, I have a cute little setup, and you know, I get to wear tank tops all day, you know, and sweatpants.
Yes, you don't have to wash so many clothes.
Right.
Right. Just everything.
Right.
Hey, Caitlin.
I said wear a uniform if you have one. I know you had certain scrubs that you had to wear.
Yeah. Ain't got time. No more time. Well, that's cool. I feel like a lot of times, I mean, we've talked to people who do like horses for a living, as well as like just like on the side, and sometimes we not forget to ask, but we just don't ask. I'm like, how do you keep this hobby up? How do you pay the bills?
Right. And see, that's what I had to learn. In order for me to keep loving horses, I couldn't do it for a living. Like, some people have that drive and they can keep going. I got fed up with having to depend on people for money, you know, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, because horses if you became a trainer and say somebody got mad at you, they just walk away. That's your income. They take 4 horses away from you, and then you're like, why am I going to eat? You know? So, and also sometimes with horses, you don't get insurance. You have to pay for your own insurance. So I'd rather go ahead and just have a job like this and be put into a 401k, because it can just always be a hobby. And if I ever wanted to become a trainer, I would save up for it and then try to step into it that way. Because I have seen enough people struggle with it. And I've seen a lot of people who are kind of born, you know, with money. And so they can kind of just say, you know what, I don't want to work anymore. I'm going to go be a trainer, you know. And then they go off and go do great things. So it's just it's different. But in our community, you really don't see it that much, where people can just go on out there and do that and then be like at the top of their game, you know, because you have to put in some hard work and hours. And I found out that I am better off being inside. Also, I don't like cold when it's winter, so I like being inside of a building, you know, with the heat. So yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that is like ultimate goal, to build the wealth necessary that, you know, even my children have choices, you know.
Yes.
They can do really whatever they want.
That's exactly right. I agree.
So how has having horses, sorry, my balloons just went flying. How has having horses affected your life, or, you know, kind of being in the horse industry?
It has changed my life 120%. I mean, like, basically, I did a whole 360. I was believe it or not, I was very like an evil, mean guy. I was not a nice guy. I was always moody. And you can ask my mother to confirm this. Like, I mean, I was never mean or like beat up people, because I don't have that in me. But I'll let you know my opinion. If I didn't like you, you would know it, you know. And it was, you know, and I had to, you know, I used to go to therapy for anger management. And so I used to be a janitor while I was in high school, and then I continued it out of high school. And I ended up cleaning up at this church, and then the horses, I started working at that therapeutic barn, and then all of a sudden everything just changed, because I felt like I had a purpose. Then I started riding. I felt like I was good at something. So then I was like, all right, well, let me get a better job that could pay for me to go compete, you know. And, you know, because what it was, I couldn't ask my mom to do this, you know. I was like, you know, she has her own bills and she had her own stuff that she got to deal with. She probably would have tried to support me in whatever way she could, her or my grandmother, but it made me have to grow up and say, hey, if you want to do this, you need to put the money towards it. You know, if you need to put in time and working at a barn, cleaning stalls, you're not too good for that. Go do it. And then you can get free lessons, you know, so it really gave me a good work ethic. And it also taught me that you cannot be cocky in the horse world because it is a very humbling sport. You can win one day and then you can't win for the next 3 years. You know, like it's a very humbling thing. So it's taught me how to save money, how to put in the time and the effort to be a better rider, to be a better person in general, and to be more of a better people person, because I've met so many different people from all walks of life, you know, just by being nice, just by just looking over and just saying, hey, how are you? Because, you know, they're already staring at me. So I'm like, you know, how are you doing? You doing all right? You know, and, you know, they're like, I'm doing good. How are you? I'm like, I'm good. Just working on my tan, you know, and then they just laugh and then we start talking, you know, and that's just kind of, it's taught me like not to, like to always go ahead and like eliminate the elephant in the room too, you know. Yes, I'm black. I know I'm black. Let's laugh, move on, and let's have a good conversation, you know. And that's what it has taught me, because I use my color as an advantage. That's what I tell people, you know, and it's nothing negative about, I love being who I am, and horses has helped like magnify that for me. So that's why I love them, you know. I'll probably be doing it till the day I die, riding horses.
Yeah. That's cool. You said something, oh my goodness, that I was gonna comment on.
You said a bunch of stuff.
I know. I was like, that was, you know, just answer all the questions. That's fine.
I would love to see if we could just track equestrians in leadership and like people in different jobs and just see like, are they better leaders because they're equestrians? Because you said that they made you a better person. So I would just wonder, you know, that would be some good research.
That really would be. I mean, it's helped me tremendously. And I think that would be a really good thing. And I think that also the building blocks from like younger people who are trying to get into horses, you know, you got to put in the grunt work for it, you know, and just like you do with any other job, you know, if you want to start at a job working, say at Kohl's, that's what I did, you know, and before I became a manager, I had to start part-time, and I just worked my butt off. And then I slowly, you know, made good connections and I became like, you know, one of like the floor managers. So, and because of that, thinking that way is because also from horses, you know, so it helps. It really does.
Yeah. What I was going to say, the therapeutic riding, like this is one of the instances where it helps the volunteer, you know, not necessarily just the people that are coming to kind of benefit from the services, but also the people that are helping, you know, make it happen.
Right. Because I was one of the people who just showed up and just wanted to do it. I heard about it and I was like, okay, I want to go do it. Now, a few people tried me, like if this is the negative side of it, because everybody's like, oh, are you here for community service? No, I'm not. You know, like they kept, because at first it was like funny at first, but then like everybody just kept asking me that because they've never seen a black guy out there willingly. You know. You know, so it was like, I was like, what's wrong with you? Because I didn't think anything of it. You know, I thought everybody just come see horses, but it's not really known in our culture to just often go. You know, I have no horse background at all, like none. Nobody in my family liked horses. They terrified of them. They say they like them, but, you know, they never did anything with them. So I just kind of was one of those rare people who just had that bug and I just kept on going with it.
If anybody is listening, please don't ask people of color if they're doing community service.
Right.
Because they're around horses. Thank you.
Right. Because that's a very, I mean, it's very offensive for one thing, because, you know, you're just profiling, and anybody who knows me, like most of my friends know, that it's like the furthest thing. I don't have a speeding ticket. Like, I mean, I don't have anything. So why would you just assume that, you know, I'm there for community service? And I'm not dressed too bad or anything either. So, but I will say this. horses also changed the way that I dress, like my appearance, because I used to wear a lot of baggy things, a lot of like oversized clothing, and
Big and tall tees. Big and tall tees.
Yes, definitely those. And I realized, like, if you dress like that, then sometimes people will think of you like that. So then it also taught me, okay, well, let me change the way that I dress, and let me wear something that fits. Let me wear something that, if you say it again to me like that, then you really are just profiling me. So I'm gonna remove that equation, like that little bubble right there, you know. And so if I'm dressing like I'm at community service, then let me just fix that, so you won't ask me that anymore. And it also, you know, like being skinny, you need to be actually wearing clothes that fit, you know, instead of wearing a double XL t-shirt, you know. So because I thought that was cool at the time. So
well, I mean, it was cool, you know, early 2000s, everybody was doing it, so it was not.
I'm not gonna say that it was cool just because everybody was doing it. Y'all look silly.
True. You look silly together.
Especially riding a horse, your shirt just flapping in the wind.
Flapping in the background, yes.
That is hilarious. Wow. The times, man, they're changing.
They have changed. I mean, it changed a bit. I mean, because I used to like wear FUBU back then, you know, and it's come a long way. Put it that way. I just didn't care. I used to wear a little bicycle helmet to go ride in, you know, because I didn't know no better. Like, okay, well, this is available. I'll just wear that, you know. Right. I didn't know about Sam Shields and all this other stuff, and you know. And then when I found out about it, I said, well, I can't afford that, so I'm gonna still keep wearing this bicycle helmet, you know.
Can we talk about that real quick? A helmet was released this week. That helmet costs $500. Like, I don't understand. Like, helmet companies, what is happening?
Me and my friend were talking about that actually, and it's funny that you bring that up because my helmet retails, believe it or not, if on Smart Pack for $790, and I got it for like $300 because I got it off of eBay used.
Oh my God.
And I found my backpack that's like for like $200, like that matches the helmet. I got it for like barely like $100 because the taxes is what bumped it up. And I said, it's ridiculous that how high you have to pay just to want to look somewhat decent, you know, because in hunters, you know, when you go in those classes, you're judged like to see your appearance, you know. You can't wear nothing flashy, but you better be wearing something that they can see the name of it, you know, or which it shouldn't be like that, but it's like they see like, oh, well, you care about yourself. You care about what you put on your back. So, but you shouldn't have to go broke for that. Like, just to be honest, you just should not have to go because it makes people, it levels like, well, if I can't wear that, then I'm only like as good as this person, or I'm only as good as this person. I've seen plenty of people wear more expensive stuff, or like in the American Quarter Horse world, you know, when they have like these expensive saddles, you can own all of that. But what I learned, you can buy all that stuff, but you can't buy talent. So
yeah, have all that stuff and be a sucky rider.
Exactly. So that's like what I had to learn the hard way, because I bought some expensive pants one time. I had no money really to be buying them, some riding pants, and put my account in overdraft back when I was really struggling. And then for what? Judge didn't know they were like $150 pants. Nobody else knew unless I told them. So that's when I was like, you know what? Bump that. You can just wear just get you some that's like maybe $20 that look good quality, and nobody's gonna really notice. And that's what I had to really like. That's the big pill to swallow. You know, it's you shouldn't really have to go broke to show and compete. You know, you can still get nice things, and you know, without going broke, because the only way they're gonna know it's expensive is if you tell them, and then that makes you look a little. You know what I mean? You know.
Yeah. That's just like the helmet that I got, it was not that expensive, and we've had these conversations about like different hair and helmets and stuff. And like I went to Dover and I had my friend help me, and she's like trying to put a hairnet on, and I put that hairnet on, my hair was sticking out the back like Sonic the Hedgehog. I was like, and she's like, no, it's just supposed to, girl, my hair don't supposed to do none of that.
Right.
So I was like, I do need a hair bow. Like you can't just flip this like, no. So, and then in trying the helmets, like I had to get a lesser expensive one because it was one that was adjustable.
Right.
And that's the other thing. Like people like talk crap about adjustable helmets, like they're not good quality helmets when the expensive ones don't fit my head. Like I tried on a $300, $400 or $500 helmet, and I was just like, well, I was like, what are we trying this on for? Because I'm not buying it. But it also did not fit my head. So it's like, you know, that's one of those things. Like people, if they're sitting there looking at name brands and they're like, oh, you got a Troxel. Right. Granted, Troxels are starting to look more.
They coming up.
Yeah, they coming up. But yeah, like that one. But the fact of the matter is that it's adjustable. It can fit different hairstyles. It can fit, you know, a wider array of head shapes. Like, right. But nobody's thinking about that. They're just like, oh, I thought you know, we're gonna get a Charles Owen.
Yeah, and that like, and like I used to have a Charles Owen that was given to me. And I wore that thing for a while, but like my head is shaped really weird, and I would like try to stuff it in there and make it work. So it's like, okay, I'm wearing a Charles Owen, and like, you know, but I pass out every time I would wear it, you know, because it didn't fit my head correctly. And by the grace of God, this girl had a weird head. That's the only reason why I got that Sam Shield one, because her head was shaped weird. They rarely even make that size that I have, you know, because it's just, you know, and then like being a woman of color, I can't imagine, like, say, you know, when you have, you know, good hair, and then you have to try to pile it up in one of these little tight helmets, because Sam Shield, there's no breathing room at all in there. You know, they just kind of, you know, if you got a lot of hair, it's kind of tough to try to put it all up under there. So, I mean, like, it's because it's not really adjustable. You get your size. So if you say you shaved your head and then you grew it back out, you couldn't wear that helmet again, you know, like, because they don't adjust. So I totally understand that. Like, it's a problem, to be honest. Like, I mean, you know, it's something that helmet companies need to look into.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, show. All right, next question. What vision do you have for your riding future? Like, what is one of your, or you can have more than one goal, but like ultimate goals?
To be able to compete, which is, it's not like the biggest goal for some people, but the adult equitation classes, which typically they start them at 3 foot. I'm nowhere near 3 foot yet, but they do that, and I would love to compete like at AA shows doing that and being really competitive at it. I'm getting there. I'm putting the stepping stones to get better at it, because it's going to take work, but that would be a humongously like big goal for me, because those classes are harder. You know, it don't matter if you got the nicest horse or not. They're really judging how you ride. And to say that I did that and I beat other people because, you know, or I was competitive, to say, you know, like, you know, here's a guy of color who has no horse background at all, and he goes out and he does that just basically from hard work, and then, you know, having a good barn who supplied him with nice horses, you know. And, you know, by supply, I mean, like, I still got to pay, you know, still got to pay for the stall, still got to pay for the show bill, they eat shavings and all that stuff. I mean, but they still, you know, like, you know, it's a nice family. It's going to let me borrow one of their horses, you know, while I go up there. So, you know, it's just kind of, that's like one of my main goals, to do that, to, you know, continue and show and do that. And once I've done it, then, you know, it's kind of like, then I'll try another goal, you know. But equitation to me is something that I don't see enough men or men of color, definitely. And like, it's just not enough of us. And I think that would be something that to show, like, you know, hey, we can do it, you know, because, you know, it's mainly dominated by really, really skinny women. And I'm like, okay, I have good,
skinny white women.
Yes, skinny white women. Yes, there's no black women in there at all. Except Jordan Allen did do it when she was a kid, like back in the juniors.
Mm-hmm.
But like there's no people of color at all. No black women, or and I know there's some black women that can ride too. So I've seen it. It's just you got to get to that level, and it's hard to get to it when they make everything so expensive. So that's just a goal that I would really like to achieve. That's where this job comes in. Might not be a high paying job, but I can save, and I can just, if I can only show it maybe once or twice, that would be a goal for me. So that's my things.
A lot of the people that we interview say they don't, or they shy away from particularly hunters and equitation classes just because the sole judgment is on what you look like. And they feel like they are at a disadvantage, having a big booty or having big thighs or, hair not fitting in helmet. So it is sticking out the bottom of the helmet, things like that. So,
and I get that. Yeah. And that's what makes me, so if a girl who feels that way might see that, but then a black guy comes in and does it, granted, I don't, I might not have hair, but I want at least they can see that there's a chance.
Right.
It's just a chance,
Yeah.
And, because it just basically all it takes is you just got to have just that perfect ride, just that one moment, just go through, hit everything. Because yes, they're going to judge you hard, but I would rather you look at my color as an advantage, because all you're going to see is white people on brown horses, gray horses, and then you see this one black dude show up. And most of the time, they always think if I'm riding a horse, everybody always says like, oh, that horse is so good. It takes such good care of him. They had no idea he was trying to buck me off in the warm-up pen, So, it's just funny how people get that perception of like, oh, it's just all the horse. He's just riding like this 6-figure horse. And it's totally not like that at all. You just put in the hard work and people can do it, but it is harder for black women, I will say, to be in that world. I mean, but there's like, I just don't think that should be a barrier. I think you should go in there and you should show them, because I mean, there's nothing that I feel like us as black people can go in and do any class that we want to do. I mean, because there's plenty of black people who do rodeos and do barrel racing and roping and all that stuff, and cattle classes, team roping. So.
And they can ride.
And they can ride. Like they can ride, and they win big money doing it. So why can't we be over in the English world too?
Right.
What's stopping us? It's just our minds. That's what I feel like. It's got to get out of that and just go ahead and go through with it. Because then nobody's gonna stop me. I mean, like that's how I feel. It's not being cocky. It's being, you just got to be confident. Because if you don't, you'll let everybody get to you. Well, you sure you want to do that? You sure? No. I know I'm sure. I don't care if I don't even place. I was seen, and some kid out there may have maybe saw me on a live stream, or maybe saw me when he was like a spectator walking by and saw me showing, and maybe that might help, light a fire in him, so he'll be the next to come along. That's just how I try to look at it.
Yeah, I love that you're so positive about it, and saying like, why not?
I mean, really, yeah. Because this, I don't ever think we should ever look at our color as a barrier at all. We are beautiful people, and we can do so much if we just get past our barriers, because I will not ever let nobody oppress me to make me think like, you can't do that. I wanted to be known. If you didn't pick me for an equitation class because you liked this white girl better than me, and I had a better round, it's going to be noticeable, because they're judging you, not the horse. It's totally different when you're doing something with horses. They can do whatever they want, because they'll say, well, they had a better horse. That's why I pick classes where they have to judge the rider. So if I work hard enough and I put in a good work, if I get beat, it's because I should have got beat because the person rode better than I did. But if I have that good ride and I still don't win, then it should be noticed. And then that'll make people like, well, he actually rode, she knocked the rail down and he didn't. How come he didn't, win? You know what I mean? Like, So it kind of like wakes people up in a way, you know. So that's why I go in them, you know. I want to be noticed. I want to be seen. So if I don't do good, then I'm humble about it. I'm like, well, got to work harder on it next time, you know. You know, because my mom, bless her heart, first time I didn't win something, I think she was like, it's because you were Black. I said, no. I said, I just sucked. That's all that was. Like, that's all it was. And
not
so,
this time, Mama. Not this time.
Not this time, you know. It was all me this time. So you know, and that's why I really want, you know, I'm not going to ignore that there's issues, you know. There's a ton of issues out here with people not accepting Black equestrians, especially in the hunter world, but there are just a few who do. And I feel like the few Black people who do get out there and are successful and doing well, they might not be like, they might not tell their story because they're just like, you know, I'm just trying to just like survive, you know, or I'm trying to just do my thing. But like, I've seen it, and it made me want to be better, you know. So I feel that that's what we should do. We should all try to be like a role model, and, you know, just try to be like for the next generation, because I want to see us be like just as many Black people out at Tryon as it is as white people, you know, or in the quarter horse world. I mean, because like in the quarter horse world, there was a Black girl who won like youth trail, you know, and she won a date, like beautiful picture of her. She had her braids like coming out of her cowboy hat. I mean, and that's a prestigious thing, because, you know, like you rarely see any Black people show at that level, you know, especially for youth. And I watched her last year, she got reserved, and this year she won it. And she did a doggone good job. I watched her run. I mean, she did. She got that Golden Globe, and she was going around, and she spoke so well when they did her interview, which I know that will make another girl who's watching her, you know, like you said, like who maybe their hair doesn't fit under a helmet, so maybe they might want to do it on a cowboy hat, you know. And she did a well, you know, great job. And that's what I wanted to be like, you know. If I do well, I want somebody to see it, so it inspires them to, you know, want to try to do it next.
Yeah, and she was beautiful. I loved all of her pictures.
Yeah. She had on her jacket. I was like, okay, crispy. Like,
yes,
sparkling. All right. So what? Well, you've given a lot of advice, actually.
Right.
I'm sorry. I run my mouth too much. I'm so sorry. I get the
Don't apologize for that.
No, it is fine. It is fine. But, I mean, anything else you have to add? Any advice you would give someone who is, you know, wanting to get into the horse world, or wanting to feel more welcome in a discipline that is not representative for them?
Basically, I would say always try to look out for the next Black person, because that's one thing I have noticed, that there was a Black guy named I think it's Bruce Griffin. He shows Frisians and stuff like that. I met him at Raleigh. I'm not into those shows really, but I was there with a friend, and he stopped and talked to me. And he was like, you know, he gave me some great advice. He's like, you know, I don't care what people say. You just need to do what you want to do and do this. And I mean, it was a very brief conversation, but the fact that he stopped and wanted to talk to me, that said, okay, all right, well, I appreciate that. Because there's some people who, you know, like some Black people where we sometimes kind of like, oh, he's just a groom, or he's just whatever, because you don't know what anybody's walks of life are. So I will always say, just be humble and let's bring each other up, because we're more stronger as a team than we are just individuals, you know? So I feel like that's the main thing that I feel like I can't stress that enough, because if white people see that we all still can't get along, even in the horse world, and we're just trying to show against each other, well, I have a better helmet than you. Well, I have a better horse than you do, you know? But we're really all trying to get the common goal to be seen and to be united. And that's like what I would want to make sure, that if anybody is watching that, like, you know, please, we have to stick together, because like we are so much stronger as a team together, supporting whatever discipline you do. And that's what I really would like to say. And the other part would be hard work. it's just, some people are given, a lot of opportunities, and some people aren't. The ones who aren't, if you're just starting from basically from the bottom up, you just have to put in the work and have a good attitude. It's not saying you got to be humble to be like, like a little servant or a little slave. I ain't saying that. Always have your self-worth, but it's also sometimes if somebody said, well, you need to like ride and do this better, instead of like clapping back and saying, well, why don't you go and do it? You just say, okay.
That would be me.
All right. And because it helped me. Do you know how many times I've been wanting to like talk back and I had to bite my tongue, but then I turned around, what they said was right because they were trying to help. Mm-hmm. So, and it just kind of, that's what I had to learn the most was sometimes it's just better just to be quiet, because if you're paying for their time, you might as well go ahead and just go ahead and take it, and just, or if they're doing it for free, still try to,
They're doing that. They're investing.
Yes,
your success.
Because that means they see something in you,
mm-hmm.
That you might not see in yourself yet. So I've had plenty of people who have, invested a lot of time in me, and it's really paid off for the good. I mean, like the list is very long, but it's a lot of great people out there. Yeah, you got to do is just have a good attitude. I would never have gotten where I am if it wasn't for the fact of just being just a friendly, happy person, Mm-hmm. Even when I don't want to be, you just, I will go to horse shows even when I wouldn't show them, just to say hello. Hi, how are you doing? You get to talk to somebody. Well, I got like about 3 horses at home. I just don't have the time to ride. You want to come by and we can ride together or something? Or you ride? I mean, that has happened to me more times because they've seen me work at it like on Facebook, and then they finally met me in person, and they're like, well, okay, I see you're working hard. I'll give you a chance. And I've always taken all my chances, even if it was riding probably one of the most like rankest horses or this got a blown mind, I still try, because I'm like, thank you. Because that horse will still teach you something. Mm-hmm. Trust me, they'll teach you something.
They'll teach you not to get on them again.
Exactly.
Always.
Oh, that was some amazing advice. That was amazing. I'm gonna take that for myself.
Yeah, we gotta stick together, man.
Yes, I try to preach that. People don't be seeing the bigger picture sometimes, so
they don't, and you just can't let that dim your light either. You just kind of, they ain't ready to hear it yet. You just keep speaking to somebody who will listen. And because it's tough. It's tough for us, because there's some bad people who just like, that's just horses, like, or if they're doing well, they're just like, I'm doing my own thing. I'm fine. Thank you. And they kind of turn it back on you because they might think they're too good to do something. And it's just kind of like, you're like, we're going backwards, like.
We're not going to talk about how many people we reached out to for this podcast. We're not even going to get on that. All of us.
An hour.
Yeah. And then they're like, I just got to your message. Like, girl, it said seen a long time ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. And that's like what I had to learn. Like it's been a few people I've maybe reached out to or whatever, or sent a friend request to, and just nothing. And then they'd be up there, just change their profile picture like 10 minutes later. And I'm like, I know you saw it, but I'm like, and then you just like, okay, noted, we'll show against each other one day. You'll see me,
Right.
So it's just, and I don't want that to be, though. We shouldn't be competitors. We should be all together, because it's hard to show a united front and we won't change if none of us get along, like just from the outside looking in. That's what I mean. If I was white, that's how I would see it. Well, so you want me to accept you guys to come on and come show and do all that stuff, but you guys like hate each other though, right? Is that what you're telling me? You know what I mean? So that's why that's why I reached out, because I wanted to be like to speak and say something, because I'm like, I don't feel like I've never really spoke about like my color or, being out here, because on Facebook it looks like, I'm just like, hunky-dory white Steven or whatever. But I'm like, no, I'm pro-black all the way, It's just, you just gotta.
Don't get it twisted.
Right. Right. Don't get it twisted. I just know how to carry myself in a way where you gotta keep yourself at a level where people are always going to respect you and always speak highly of you. But if they test you, you can show them the other side, so then they don't test you again.
Agreed. I'm with that 100%. 100%. And I'm so glad that you did reach out, because there's a lot of people like I'll see them on Facebook and or Instagram, and it's kind of like, if I see like a recent article come out about them, like I'll kind of hesitate, like, because I don't want to just like flood you with requests, because that's what happened to us.
Right.
But there's people like, oh, why don't you talk to Anna Buffini? Why don't you talk to Jordan Allen? Why don't you? And I'm like, I can Google these people.
Right.
Like,
Find their whole life.
we can find their, like, they've answered all the questions. Like, I don't have really brand new
Right.
questions.
Right.
It's just, coming from us and our like delivery or whatever, like this is a relatable space. This is a comfortable space, and we do similar things, and we have the same passion. So we like having people on this show that they don't have like people behind.
It's relatable.
It's relatable. Yeah. And that's what gets the next person on,
Right.
Yeah, Jordan Allen's freaking fantastic, but nobody, like, you're not going to get this, kid from 4-H to just all of a sudden do it when, she's so far away.
Right.
So I'm sure Caitlin likes too, but we like talking to these people, like, you're literally right down the road from us, and you're doing these amazing things and can speak so eloquently about it. Like, that is what I appreciate from this podcast, for sure.
I loved it. I mean, you guys, when I saw a podcast before, and it's like a bunch of people on here on this one, and I was like, they got everybody from all walks of life on here, like, and I just watched it. Rob was on it, that one too, I think, and I was like, well, I'll be darned. I was like, well, maybe I should reach out to her. I was like, well, she probably think I'm weird, so like, because I was like, you get in your head, like I said, those barriers. It's those barriers. You think, because I'm thinking like, here's all these other successful equestrians, and I'm like, I'd ride, yes, and I try to compete and do pretty decent, but it's like, Robinson got way more stuff. Like, he's done like, with like USHJA, excuse me, and he's gone on and done a lot of great things, and a lot of other people that I've seen on here, they've done some really nice things on here, and I'm like, well, here I am working from home, I get lessons, and I still ride and show a little bit, so, but I'm glad I did. I'm glad it helped me to push that barrier aside and just like, hi, I just want to give a positive experience, because I really honestly don't have anything negative to say. I mean, like, I could, but it's really not that many, because it's actually been somewhat of a decent journey so far for me. I mean,
that's good. And that's what we need to see. That's what we need to hear, because that encourages people to get involved and to stay involved. It wasn't, and this was not like a podcast created to just complain.
Right.
It's here to inspire and to encourage and to say, hey, this person, they had this experience too, but look where they went, they still did fantastic. And we're just trail riders. Like, what you mean? Like, these backyard, riding people, like, yeah, I've shown a little bit, but not a lot. Like, we are out here, having conversations with people at the top, and in the horse world, we're considered like not at the top. So,
which is a horrible way that how people look at things, and it's like, it's just another barrier that I feel like comes into play. And I'm glad you guys are breaking those down, because it helped me realize, like, okay, I can speak up and say something, and because I mean, like, I'm friends with all kinds of people from all walks of life, no matter what political party that they are or where they lean. Like, I'm still friends with them. I might like unfollow them for a few days if they get to talking nonsense on Facebook, but that's just kind of just like, instead of me going off on them and losing that connection, just kind of just put it to the side, and you just like, it taught me how to be more tolerant, if that makes sense, and just whoosah, just take a deep breath and keep on going, because you don't want to let your emotions get in the way of something, and yes, and that's what I had to really learn about, some things like that. And I mean, it's helped out so much, and you guys have really doing this. It's just like a beautiful thing, because it's, people like me who didn't have any riding at all, and the thing is, I barely trail ride. I would love to go trail riding. I'm too chicken to do it, like show horses are terrible trail horses,
Yes, they are.
Everything,
Oh my goodness.
So,
you are going to have to come to a trail ride. Once they start back up, you are going to have to come this way and hang out with us and go to a trail ride.
I would love to. I really would, because I go hiking all the time, I literally, like, when you messaged me, I was about to head out the door, and you was like, "Hey, you still?" I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." I felt so bad saying that, and luckily I had already freshened up, so I was like, "All right, I don't look like because I had like a horrible little shirt on and everything." So put the hat on to cover up my hair. So it was like perfect timing.
Well, that's good. And I'm glad we talked about this. So for anybody listening, for anybody watching, don't think that you're too small to have a voice.
Right.
Everybody has something to add to this conversation. Everybody has a contribution to make to the industry. You just got to figure out which lane works best for you and what you enjoy the most. But don't be afraid to speak up or to reach out to us. If you just got questions, like, join the Facebook group, like, do whatever, you need to do to get in contact with us. If you have something to share, like, we are like the most down to earth people. We've been busy, so it might take us a little bit to respond, but we're still here.
Right. But you got a life, you still got to work, still got to pay bills, I mean, that's just, understand that.
All right. So we have been doing a new segment. Nobody has really seen this yet. It's called the Derby Round at the end of our episodes. So we're going to get into that. You answer the questions as quickly as you can. First thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
Okay. I am ready.
Oh, you ready?
I need to find some music to put into that, because that's too much. Anyway, the Derby Round. All right. English or Western?
English.
Solids or spots?
Solids.
Bays or grays?
Bays.
Brown tack or black tack?
Brown.
A sponge or a curry brush?
Curry.
Shod or barefoot?
Shod.
Bumper pull or gooseneck?
Ooh, gooseneck.
A rope halter or a nylon halter?
Rope.
What is your favorite piece of barn equipment?
Bell boots.
What is your favorite piece of tack?
Bridle.
When is the last time you fell off?
4 years ago.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Man. Oh, years. Golly.
I had to learn, pick and choose what type of horses I was riding. That's why I did that.
Yeah.
Get tired of hitting the ground.
Right. That's right. And if money was no object, what is one horse-related purchase you would make?
I would love a reining horse, to be honest.
Yeah.
I love English, but I would love a reining horse. That, when I've shown that, and that is probably the most fastest, like, adrenaline rush, and you win money. So it was really fun. It's based off style and how good you do a pattern. So that was actually really fun. So that would be it.
Oh, that's cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would choose a bridle because you can ride bareback. You don't need a saddle, but you gotta have something to hang on to. So rope halters, they can feel it if they pull back or anything. So I'd rather they have that. So.
Oh yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on our show today. We are just over the moon. This was a great conversation.
Thank y'all for listening to me ramble, because I do that.
Oh, somebody is going to listen to this and it's going to help them go in the right direction. I know that will happen.
Fantastic.
Tell our people where they can find you, if you want them to find you.
Sure. Facebook is going to be Stephen Brian Pelzer. And I'm having to kind of weed through some friends because I'm about to max out on friend requests. So I've been kind of try to keep like watching that. And also on Instagram, it is going to be Polo Guy 2312.
All right.
That is where you find me at. So
okay. Awesome.
Hit me up.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, and we will let you know when this episode goes live.
Thank you so much. It was great talking to you both.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Young Black Equestrians. Head over to our Facebook or Instagram pages and let us know what you thought about that episode. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and have the opportunity to be featured in our next episode. See you next week.